Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon, and today we are back with another Enlisted video. And today we're going to be talking about the caste situation, or to be more exact, how to solve the caste situation. Because for those who don't know, the caste situation as of right now is pretty bad. And when I mean pretty bad, I mean pretty dreadful. For example, as of BR5 or Tier 5, the United States has both the P-47 and, most importantly, the Meteor. And that is not even including the premiums, for example, the Tempest, the F-80, and we're not even talking about the Corsair or the P-38s. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to solve this. So what is the best way to solve this? And the best way to solve this is to improve the SPAA. For those who don't know, previously Enlisted has a bunch of good SPAA, or to be exact, a lot of SPAAs and files. This could actually be seen in the Enlisted files even to this day, and that's great. However, we also do have to talk about something that is not an SPAA, and that is the regular AA. For those who don't know, previously before all of this happened with the updates, the AA for every faction was a quad 20mm. This is actually not a bad idea, especially if it can gun down planes very quickly, and this was used and abused by pretty much every single player. Previously, that was the issue, and now currently Enlisted has given every faction their own specific AAs. For example, the Germans have a single 20mm, the Americans have their own AA, and the Soviets have the 45mm. So that's great. However, as of right now, the issue is that the planes, as of right now, are very hard to deal with. And when I mean very hard to deal with, I'm specifically talking about jets. For example, if non-jets, such as piston aircraft or propeller planes, are easily dealt with, especially if you use AA. Now, against jets, that is a little bit hard to deal with, mainly because the jets are very fast. Hence, what I suggest Enlisted do is to add better AA and SPAA. For example, the Germans should get their own specific anti-aircraft. For example, the Germans should get the quad 20mm, which is actually what they've gotten a long time ago, and we should find a specific AA for the Americans, the Japanese, and the Soviet Union. For example, the Americans could have the quad 50 caliber, which is pretty good if you ask me. And the Soviets can have their own anti-aircraft, and the Japanese can have their own anti-aircraft. Needless to say, the anti-aircraft situation as of right now is pretty bad, and has been pretty bad for a long time. And before I even get to go on, we also have to talk about why the AA was changed in the first place, and that is something not a lot of people talk about or have forgotten. And the reason is because the previous AAs, or anti-aircraft, were used against infantry to great extent. To be exact, people who use anti-aircraft against infantry are able to get really high kills with them, especially if they're on the defense. Now, an issue that a lot of people don't talk about is how to counter them, and that is actually pretty simple. For example, you can have an anti-tank gun and it instantly takes out an AA very quickly. Or, if you really want to be specific, bring out a tank and blast them to pieces. Or, if you're really lucky, just go up close and use an explosive pack. Needless to say, there are a lot of ways to take out AAs. And I do think Enlisted should focus more on how to take out AAs than literally just nerf them to oblivion, which they have done as of right now. The issue right now is that Enlisted has jets, and we need a way to counter the jets, especially if you're infantry, and not just use a jet to kill a jet. That just doesn't make sense. It does, but still, it doesn't make sense if you're infantry. Hence, I suggest Enlisted upgrade the AA. Now, regarding the SPAA, or self-propelled anti-aircraft guns, I highly suggest that Enlisted add a tech trade version of the SPAA and call it a day, and also give us event SPAAs, which they have done. Those event anti-aircraft guns are pretty dang terrible, if you ask me. So, without further ado, this is all it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. Comment on the comment section down below of what do you think, and I'll see you in the next one.